دوستای نهایت عزیز، سلام خدمت همه شما. امیدوارم جور صحتمند باشین. بازم از طریق چینل انگلیش کلاس رخسار صادقی به خدمت شما هستم. البته قسمی که میبینین موضوعی که امروز خدمت شما تقدیم میکنم بخش داستان است از کتاب پنجم شما و یونت 8. خب امیدوارم که درس مورد علاقه شما قرار بگیره. عزیزان پیش از اینکه کلاس آغاز کنم لطف کنین چنل را حمایت کنین، با دوستایتون شیر کنین تا اونام بتونن سابسکرایب کنن و از ویدئویی که به خدمت هستم مستفید شن. شما هم سوالی داشتین، نظری داشتین، پیشنهادی داشتین، میتونین در اخیر ویدیو با ما شیر کنین. خب میریم به طرف کلاس خود. یونت 8 شما کتاب پنجم بخش داستان.
Becoming a healer. Years ago, I worked at a small health clinic in a remote country.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. به نام خداوند یکتا آغاز میکنیم. Becoming a healer، شفا دهنده شدن یا صحتیاب شدن. معنا میده Years ago I worked at a small health clinic in a remote country. سالا پیش در یک کلینیک بهداشتی کوچک در کشوری دور افتاده بود کار میکردم.
I'd gone there to treat an obscure syndrome.
I had gone there to treat an obscure syndrome. خب معنایش است که من برای درمان یک سندروم معنایش است علائم مشخص مریض، یعنی به یک درمان یک مریضی مبهم رفته بودم. I had gone there to treat an obscure syndrome، یعنی به درمان یک مرض پیچیده و مبهم رفته بودم.
Attacked people's lungs.
It attacked people's lung، که ای یعنی به امی ششهای افراد حمله میکنه.
Them to need a respirator to breathe.
Causing them to need a respirator to breathe. خب به می خاطر است که باعث میشه آنها برای نفس کشیدن به دستگاه تنفسی نیاز داشته باشند.
I was trying out a new medication to treat these people instead of using a respirator.
I was trying out a new medication to treat these people instead of using a respirator. خب میگم من در حال آزمایش یک داروی جدید برای درمان این افراد به جای استفاده از دستگاه تنفسی بودم.
If I was successful, I would become famous.
If I was successful, I would become famous. خب اگر من میگه موفق میشدم معروف میشدم. Years ago, I worked at a small health clinic in a remote country. I had gone there to treat an obscure syndrome. It attacked people's lungs, causing them to need a respirator to breathe. I was trying out a new medication to treat these people instead of using a respirator. If I was successful, I would become famous.
Everything was going fine until war broke out in a nearby country.
Everything was going fine until war broke out in a nearby country. همه چیز به خوبی پیش می رفت تا اینکه جنگ در کشور نزدیک شروع شد.
Many people from that country fled the hostile invading army.
Many people from that country fled the hostile invading army. بسیاری از مردم از امو ارتش دشمنایشان فرار کردند.
The army wanted to dominate the people.
The army wanted to dominate the people. خب اما ارتش میخواست که بر مردم تسلط داشته باشه.
The people didn't want to be oppressed.
But the people didn't want to be oppressed. اما مردم ایجا نمیخواستن که تحت ظلم قرار بگیرن. Oppressed mean تحت ظلم یا مظلوم بودن معنا میده یا تحت فشار قرار دادن.
So they walked hundreds of miles across barren land to get away.
So they walked hundreds of miles across barren land to get away. خب اونا صدها میل در زمینایی که یعنی بی ثمر بود اونا پیاده روی کردن تا دور شوند.
Some of these people came to our clinic for treatment.
Some of these people came to our clinic for treatment. خب بسیاری از این مردم یا تعداد بیشتری از این مردم برای درمان در کلینیک ما مراجعه کردند.
I talked with them and learned of their difficulties.
I talked with them and learned of their difficulties. خب میگم من با آنها صحبت کردم و از مشکلاتی از اونا مطلع شدم.
They did not beg or complain.
They did not beg or complain. خب اونا میگه که التماس نکردن و شکایت نکردن.
I was impressed by their dignity.
I was impressed by their dignity. یعنی میگه من تحت تاثیر و وقار آنها قرار گرفتم. dignity معنیش از وقار، خطر. Some of these people came to our clinic for treatment. I talked with them and learned of their difficulties. They did not beg or complain. I was impressed by their dignity.
There was one woman I will never forget.
There was one woman I will never forget. خب اوجا یک خانمی بود که من هیچ وقت فراموشش نمیکنم.
Her son suffered from malnutrition and stomach pain.
Her son suffered from malnutrition and stomach pain. خب او خانم پسرش از سوی تغذیه و درد معده رنج می برد.
And she didn't know what to do.
And she didn't know what to do. و او نمیدونست که چی کار انجام بده.
Neither did I.
Neither did I. و همچنان نمیفهمیدم که چی کار باید کنم.
I was not adept at treating malnutrition.
I was not adept at the treating malnutrition. میگه من همچنان در قسمت درمان سوء تغذیه مهارت نداشتم.
Nonetheless, when I saw her sadness, I knew I had to help her son.
Nonetheless, when I saw her sadness, I knew I had to help her son. خب میگه با این حال وقتی غم او را دیدم فهمیدم که باید به پسرش کمک کنم. There was one woman I will never forget. Her son suffered from malnutrition and stomach pain, and she didn't know what to do. Neither did I. I was not adept at treating malnutrition. Nonetheless, when I saw her sadness, I knew I had to help her son.
The woman had been feeding her son bread and water.
The woman had been feeding her son bread and water. فقط او خانم به پسرش نان و آب میداد.
She had a misconception that it would be enough for him.
She had a misconception that it would be enough for him. و او یعنی یک تصور اشتباه داشت، یک فکر اشتباهی داشت که او فکر میکرد که علمی غذایی که فقط نان خشک و آب برش میده همین برش کافی است.
However, I knew that he needed to eat vegetables too.
However, I knew that he needed to eat vegetables too. خب یعنی با این حال من میفهمیدم که او هم باید سبزیجات نوشجان کنه.
So I took her outside and showed her a dense patch of edible plants.
So I took her outside and showed her a dense patch of edible plants. خب میگم من این خانم بیرو بردم و امو گیاهایی که قابل خوردن است به اونا را نشان دادم.
I taught her how to dig up the roots, peel them, and cook them for her son.
I taught her how to dig up the roots and peel them and cook them for her son. میگم من برش یعنی یاد دادم که چطور ریشه هایش از او دور کنه، پوستش دور کنه و به پسرش او را پخته کنه و به پسرش او را آماده کنه و برش بده. The woman had been feeding her son bread and water. She had a misconception that it would be enough for him. However, I knew that he needed to eat vegetables too. So I took her outside and showed her a dense patch of edible plants. I taught her how to dig up the roots, peel them, and cook them for her son.
I explained that she should increase her son's intake of these vegetables.
I explained that she should increase her son's intake of these vegetables. خب میگم من برش توضیح دادم که او باید مصرف امی خوراکی او را با این سبزیجات برای پسرش افزایش بده، یعنی بیشتر سبزیجات برش بده، مصرف خوردنش هم بیشتر از سبزیجات آماده کنه یا مکمل کنه.
Likewise, she should strive to get him some meat once a week to help him regain his strength.
She should strive to get him some meat once a week to help him regain his strength. خب و همچنان یعنی او باید تلاش کنه که هفته یک بار گوشت برای او بیاره و تا به او کمک کنه که قدرتش دوباره به دست بیاره یا نیروی وجودش دوباره به دست بیاره. I explained that she should increase her son's intake of these vegetables. Likewise, she should strive to get him some meat once a week to help him regain his strength.
I sent her off with a prescription for some pain medicine.
I sent her off with a prescription for some pain medicine. میگه ما او را فرستادم به خاطر یعنی یک نسخه داروهایی که ضد امو درد بود، او را به بیرو فرستادم.
But she also left my office with some new culinary skills.
But she also left my office with some new culinary skills. خب او میگه که با مهارت‌های جدید آشپزی دفتر مرا ترک کرد. culinary جا آشپزی منو میدن.
A few weeks later, she returned to tell me her son was healthy again.
A few weeks later, she returned to tell me her son was healthy again. خب بعد از چند هفته بعد او برگشت تا که به ما بگوید که پسرش دوباره صحتیاب شده.
As thanks, she gave me a beautiful ceramic bowl.
As thanks, she gave me a beautiful ceramic bowl. خب میگه به خاطر تشکری او یک کاسه سرامیکی بسیار زیبا برای من تحفه داد. I sent her off with a prescription for some pain medicine, but she also left my office with some new culinary skills. A few weeks later, she returned to tell me her son was healthy again. As thanks, she gave me a beautiful ceramic bowl.
I never became famous, but I kept that bowl to remind me what it truly means to heal someone.
I never become famous. خب میگم من هیچگاه مشهور نشدم یا شهرت نکشیدم. But I kept that bowl to remind me what it truly means to help someone. اما کاسه را به خاطر نگاه کردم که همیشه باید ما باشه که واقعا شفا دادن یک نفر چی هست. I never become famous, but I kept that bowl to remind me what it truly means to help someone. خب عزیزایم این بود درس امروز شما از یونت 8 بخش داستانش و کتاب 5 شما خدمت شما تقدیم کردم. امیدوارم که درس مورد علاقه شما قرار بگیره. تا درس بعدی که بازم به خدمت شما عزیزان می باشم، شما رو به خداوند یکتا میسپارم. روز همه شما خوش. خدا یار و مددگارتان.